I think the one rule that I take away from all of this is if you upload new creative that are 50% better than the previous creative, it doesn't mean that if Andromeda doesn't change to it, that those couldn't be good. It simply means that Andromeda thinks that this ad is still doing as good as it did before. So the rule is Andromeda will very rarely, so far that I've seen, because I've done this a few times now, make you drastically better. It will. Sometimes it will. If you put a new ad and that one is doing good, it will absolutely add in ad spend, but not every single time. Do not count on that as a, well, I uploaded a better creative. It should have spent there. It will not be that way all the time. So we had something that was like the only thing that ever worked. I'm like, we have to kill it. And that was actually kind of interesting. So I'm ready to dive in if you are, without further ado.
Yeah. So a quick summary on this. Well, we have a lot of, I get this question all the time in the school group, comment section, private LinkedIn DMs, which is how the heck do you force spend into creative? How do you test and actually say, hey, this one's doing better. Why isn't it taking more of the ad spend? How do we do that? What's the use case for that? And the good news, and I'll leave it at this, is that Andromeda remembers the creative ID, which means that it can pivot to audiences with the creative pretty easily. So I'll leave it at that. That's a little hint. But John, I think, yeah, it's time to jump on into it and kind of get to the actual evidence for it.
Yep. So here's the whole thing. There we are, whole entire screen. Okay. So these two campaigns, even like the beef cheek rolls, I mean, we've had, like, if we look at all 47 campaigns essentially, and we look at like maximum of all time, the amount spent is kind of staggering because while there has been 44 different ads that we have tried in this, every like AI ad that you can think of, videos, static, all the other stuff, we basically had like this ad was the only ad that really had ad copy or ad spend. I mean, if you think about it, there's $4,600 on this video, which is the same video that has the $1,000 in ad spend, which then had $800, but then is the same video that also had the other $200, which is also the same video that had 50. So basically like $6,000 out of the $8,000 has been spent on this one video. And that was because this is the video that previous to this last week, basically, if we look at like the last 30 days, but if I just do this here, if I just go back from like October and then go forward to basically like this time period here in January, we really only had the ad spend going to this ads because this was basically the only video that we had. So when I said that, hey, Andromeda needs 2/3 video, it's because whenever there's ad spend that's not a video, it's like pulling teeth to try to get that ad to actually get any sort of spend. So we said, okay, we know that videos are 2/3 of everything that Andromeda wants. So that's where we messed up. Number one, we did not have 2/3 of our ads being video. So if there's ever a time period in the school community or out there in YouTube land or wherever you're watching this, that you say, hey, my performance isn't good, we do want to make sure we're following the SOP that is at least 2/3 of our ads to be video. That is something that has been kind of rule confirmed, and you'll believe that kind of by the end of this lesson, by the end of this case study. So we had the only video was basically running at the entire time because that had the hook rate that was the minimums. And it's like it was the only thing running. We tried everything else, nothing else would run. And then we're like, okay, this thing would run again. We're like, dang, like it was just always running there no matter what. So we said, well, we have to get rid of it. How do we test anything that could possibly be new if we don't pause this? Like if we don't finally, kill the king for like this last 30 days of spending money on it, if we don't actually end up just pausing it, how do we get anything else to run? So in the last 7 days, what we did is we started adding new creative, and I'll share with you everything that's active. These are the 5 new ads. You can see that are uploaded, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We just stuck 5 new videos in there, and we waited until the hook rate was about 25 to 30% minimums. This is the last 7 days, but they were turned on actually on the 30th. But as we start to push ads here, you can see they're not getting any sort of spend, but good hook rate, good hook rate, good hook rate. Hit the gas. We have $7 in. That's good enough for me. Like that was the test. As I said, hey, if they have at least some good hook rate here, can the next 3 days here basically just go and say, all right, yep, crank up the ad spend 5,000%.
Oh
Like that was
God.
kind of it. We launched it and we said, good enough. Then just hit the gas. So there was, again, we would not take our entire account and in 3 days take the only ad that's been working for the last 6 months that has built our company up 50% year over year and just huck it out the window. It was hard for sure, but I do it for science.
Just for your accounts, though.
Just for my account, and I also own the company. And I
that
also
you own
said,
the company, yeah.
I also said, hey, if this messes up, I'm going to write you a check for $500
for science, though.
for science. Right? So we said, hey, we're just going to have to basically spend $500 in like 3 days. Again, we're not a big company, so this is a big risk. Thank God what ended up happening was these ads that went live went basically, it had no ad spend of $10 to all 550. What ended up happening inside of the ad set was very interesting though. You can see our amount spent, same, 5% difference. No change. We just basically killed the king and reallocated all ad spend from away from the one video to the other 5.
So King, top performer previously, is what we're referring King to.
Exactly right. The one top performing ad for 6 months. The cost per result dropped 36%, went from $49 down to $31, which was great to see. And then the in-platform results went from 12 up to 20. So we saw 66% more purchases. So how this looks in the back end when we're looking at this is the date range here from 30th to the 2nd. Sorry, I was doing this earlier and to the 2nd and hit run. Sorry, 30th to the 2nd. And then this one's going to go from the 27th now. I'm just going to do it this way. So now we have from the 30th through the 2nd. And so now we're going to do the previous 4 days. So the 26th through the 29th. And we had 15. So if we look at 15 to 25, basically that's the jump in new customers, 15 to 25.
Jeez.
Our ad spend here was completely flat. So if we went from 15 to 25, a quick end calculator, because we're only doing meta. So 589 divided by 15, 39. Now we're going to jump over here to this of 620. 620 divided by, what was it, 25? So 24. We basically cut down $15 cost per acquired first-time customer. However, it did not happen because these new ads are so much better than the previous ads. That is not the reason. The reason as to why we saw a flat spend and such better performance is because we had a large audience in their sticky pixel that was being beaten up by a bully named Old Video. The old king was a tyrant, and the tyrant was just beating the people. And it was saying, come here, peasants. And the king was just beating them. And then 5 new knights came in and killed the king and said, we love you and we want to give you more stuff. And they said, wow, this is so much better. So it's not the fact that these 5
grain
knights
for the
that
kingdom,
became the
John.
king.
Grain for the kingdom.
An analogy. We said, hey, this one, you've done as much as you can for the people. It's time. Your time has come. And now these are the new people there. But what had happened is those new ads that have better engagement on newer products and different products that have a better way of converting people have re-engaged the previously interested users that did not click and previously went away. It brought them back and said, hey, remember us? We have even more stuff for you. You liked us before. Now we're back. And they said, oh, that's cool. I forgot about you guys. I'm going to buy some stuff. So we're resurrecting previous interested users that hit frequency cap because one video can't build a brand. And we went and did our creative diversification and was able to get back out to them and see an actual good result. But that top line NCAC is important. But I think the one rule that I take away from all of this is if you upload new creative that are 50% better than the previous creative, it doesn't mean that if Andromeda doesn't change to it, that those couldn't be good. It simply means that Andromeda thinks that this ad is still doing as good as it did before. So the rule is Andromeda will very rarely, so far that I've seen, because I've done this a few times now, make you drastically better. It will. Sometimes it will. If you put a new ad and that one is doing good, it will absolutely add in ad spend, but not every single time. Do not count on that as I uploaded a better creative. It should have spent there. It will not be that way all the time. It needs to be coerced sometimes. And that's what I wanted to change topics after this, after obviously, Caden, you're done talking about this topic too, when you're done with your rebuttal. But I would like to talk about the how do we force spend into those things like a minimum spend ABO. for a temporary amount of time until hook rate is check, and then you get a chance to kill the king, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but that's what I wanted to talk into next. But obviously, what do you think about what we just went through?
Yeah. So this is, I think, where a lot of people are going to get confused, because the conversations that we had last week were around top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel, whereas people test creative and then say, oh, this creative's doing amazing, and then they carry it over and then hope that it does good. This is more so testing it first within the core concept. And then if it has a better ratio, then you can sort of pause the winner, have it carry over. But so there's a couple things I'm a little bit confused on. So the first thing is, when it comes to the new creative that you were testing, you said that was a different product or the same product?
Oh, no, same product. The other ads
Okay.
had like other products in them. Like we still have pretty much just beef cheek, but one has like a bully stick in it. So it's not
Okay.
like amazing. And we still have actually better results on the beef cheek that we're trying to sell. The only thing that we basically have proven with this case study is that Meta will not let go of a ad that it likes, even for better performing ads. Like that's the full
Yeah.
takeaway of this whole thing. Now, it's not the fact that can I run an ABO test the creative to cold traffic, and that means that my existing users will like it, or it might have accidentally gone warm, and then when I put them in, when it tried to become cold, like we're not talking about necessarily user alignment as to which would this be the next thing in the sequence they should hear, like it would be testing iterative new creative. This is if I'm testing and iterating new creative and I add it into the campaign and it has a 40% hook rate, John, can I kill the king? Can I remove the top performing ad? And so far, my answer was, I don't know, I wouldn't. But that's not an answer. That's an I don't know, I wouldn't. That's not a reason as to why it would or wouldn't work. And that's what I made it my life's mission for the last week. Hey, if you like this video, we have a school community where we have a few hundred members and we cover topics, everything from the basics to all the way to the like hyper crazy advanced stuff that's like coming out next month. So few hundred members there. We go live twice a week, something with an hour-long education about something that is very relevant to the community that week, plus a weekly Q&A where you just get to come and bring us all of your problems and we solve them one at a time.
So I have a link below in the description if you want to join. And then obviously if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and we can answer those for you. And we'll see you in there.